But bro, it was like you know what it was like? It was like a brick wall, yeah. And there was like a crack. And the more I kept going, the crack just started cracking even more, to the point where it just cracked. Yeah, I said, you know what, I can't do this no more. It's too much.
I'm not far off that.
Yeah, and one of the main other reasons I quit as well was because I wanted to start this podcast.
Yes.
And I was like, if I don't have the time to do it, and the money from that went towards the podcast equipment
100%.
anyway.
And if you look back in 10 years, you'll be able to watch these podcasts and see all these wonderful, you know, intelligent conversations that you've been having. And if you're just working at Amazon all these years, you might even look back 10 years later and say, wow, I can't really see the money and I ain't got no product. I've got nothing to show with for my last 10 years of my life. Like, but at least with these things here, this is what money can't buy, you know.
Do you know what's interesting about money? Yeah. So I was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's an amazing book. Yeah.
Yeah, I've read it.
You read it, yeah. So when it talks about, it's not about how much money we make, it's about how much money we keep. Because like sometimes with some people, like they start making more money, but their lifestyle changes as well. Yeah. So that means they transition to new lifestyle. So they're spending that money, they're not really keeping it. Yeah. So and he gave some other good examples, which was some people like they won the lottery before and it just went broke after like a little while. So it was more to do with the mindset. Yeah. But I think see with like I was reflecting on this recently, yeah. I think there's two different things. I think there's one which is being broke and there's one which is being in poverty. I think they're two separate things. And sometimes people talk about both of them like it's the same thing. Yeah. I think they're two separate things because poverty is more about people's surroundings and economic factors and all the systems that surround them, how everything's shaped. But being broke is more about someone that's maybe like, let's say they're working or whatever and they're broke. That's more about the mindset. So they're two different things. You know what I'm trying to say?
I can totally understand. Totally understand. Totally understand that, man. Yeah. Broke. Yeah, because like you said, you can be impoverished but not feel it like mentally. Like I know some people that are on the blocks, but because of their mindset and their mind state, you know they're not going to be there forever. You know, like poverty is definitely a condition, but with a powerful, strong mind, you can kind of work your way out of it. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it's difficult.
You know, I was talking about yesterday, yeah, and I think
when started, have we recording? Oh,
it started, yeah. My guy didn't even say nothing. Do you want a headset, by the way?
No, I've never seen no one else wear a headset here. I always see people.
I might wear it for the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to see how it goes. Wow, actually,
that was a powerful point about broken poverty. Like even maybe, like see with the podcast things, yeah. Like sometimes, like when my brain works, I need to think about it for me. When you just said that, I was like, wow, I need to deep it. But it's like, oh shit, I've got to like come back with, I've got to conversate with you. But I was just like, yeah, Rob, it's true. Like being broke and being impoverished is different.
But do you know, I was thinking about yesterday, yeah, and what I was talking about actually. So I went to the Life reunion, and we had a lot of deep conversations down there. But one of the things I was thinking, that one of the keys that came up for me through those conversations is there's something about responsibility. And obviously, like always, I've learned it from someone else, but always break it down in a way where like responsibility is the ability to respond, because that's what it means, responsibility. And there's loads of different words that have ability there, because that's what ability is, someone's, ability to do something. Yeah. So I was thinking about responsibility, and I was thinking, actually, I think what the world is missing mostly is people's development to respond to situations better. I'm not saying that's gonna, because I'm not saying there aren't certain factors that might be affecting them. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying it's like, cool, where's the piece of empowerment, which is like, cool, this is some crazy stuff is happening, but then how would someone want to empower themselves, and how can they respond better if they can? You know what I'm trying to say? If 100%. They can, because some people can't. Yeah. Some people are not in that position to be able to choose the response.
Like when I'm outside certain stations, like let's say Stratford Station, I'm just looking around at some of the people out there and I'm trying to wonder what's going on. Like it looks impoverished. Like Stratford Station has just got Westfield and it's multi-million-pound businesses and all this luxury stuff inside you can go and buy. But when I'm standing outside the station at the front, I'm seeing people, the faith groups out there shouting about Jesus. I'm seeing people looking really poor from different parts of the world, everyone's out there, like every nation are outside Stratford, and I'm looking like thinking, I don't know if they're developing like what you just said. I don't know if they're I feel like they're living through their life, but there's no development, there's no progress. I don't know if there's any milestones, any achievements. It just seems like a lot of people are living and just operating on a very low frequency, man, low vibration. I'm like, and it's not their fault. It's the faults of whoever's in control of like media and the systems, you know, like.
But it's the thing. But it's what I was thinking. Yeah, so I was thinking along the lines as well. Also, like those people that are in control of those things and those people that are causing all of these different things, their response is shit. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, if they became better at developing their responsibility and they actually took more responsibility for how they respond and, you know, and what they do, then it would be better for everyone else too.
100, man. Like,
you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't saying it just goes down to the end of someone that's kind of like, you know, in poverty or whatever. It's also going to the end of someone that's rich and they're the top and they need to make better responses as well.
100%, man. We've all got a responsibility. I think we've all got a responsibility out here. We've all got one, and we've all got to do something. And the people at the top, I wouldn't say they're necessarily playing their part. I would say they're playing the part that they want to play. Yeah, but they're not really. To be responsible is to look at everyone and everything. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're a father or a teacher, you know, there's different levels of responsibility. If you're a teacher, you're in the classroom with 30 young people, you're responsible for each and every one of them. You can't just say, oh, but they're not my kids. It's like, sir, when people drop them off to you, or madam, when people drop them off to you each day, they're your responsibility. Grow up, act the part, be the adult, act. Even if it's not like you've got to do the right thing. So yeah, we'd love those people at the top, the world leaders, to really come out and let us go up there and take care of things, take care of business. It's our turn. Straight. It's our turn. We're trying to do a better job really and make sure that outside Stratford doesn't look the way it does. You know what I mean? And Barking and some of the other areas.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's what I start doing. I'm gonna start teaching people responsibility from any background, really, any financial, you know, setting or anything. I think if people respond better, it will be better for everyone else too.
Yeah, I think people can even learn from how you how you move, how you're responding. You know, how you're able to respond in your life. People can just see like, right, this is a very responsible young man here. Like I'm learning some bits and pieces. Yeah. So sometimes it's in action. You know, it's the teaching. You're already teaching. You're already doing it. That's what's sick about it. You're already teaching people how to be responsible because they're watching the youth councils and the leadership groups and the others. And the ones older than you, the adults too. Watching and being like, okay.
I feel like I'm in between the two generations. Am I in between two generations? I probably am. I feel like I'm slightly like, because I'm kind of like a mix with the younger generation, but also with the older generation. So I'm kind of like in between, trying to sort of bridge the gap a little bit.
It's an interesting place to be.
Yeah, it really is. It's challenging as well at the same time.
It must be. Because you've got that whole youth, you're communicating upwards what the voice of the young people are saying, and you're communicating downwards of what the grumps, the older lot, or what the older lot are saying. So, but
this is what it is, and this is one of the things I'm going to talk to you about, and wanted to see what you think about, which is the experience thing, right?
Yes.
I think the only thing that separates, the thing that separates everyone, or like even if you look at different communities and whatnot, is an experience, right? And obviously every single individual's got experiences. But I feel like, with the older generation, younger generation, they just have different experiences, innit?
Yeah.
So I think I used this example before when I spoke to you. It's one of my favorite examples actually, which is, you know, like if I go to Spain and I experience it, and then I come back and you ask me about what was Spain like, I can try to tell you, but unless you go and experience it yourself, it's going to be difficult to understand, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
I do think with us human beings, though, I feel like we've got like a big imagination, especially me. So, like, if you're good at telling the story or good at painting pictures, I'm just there like, wow, Spain's sick. I'm enjoying Spain. In my mind, like, it's just like I got a very big imagination, so I can just start to see pictures when people are explaining.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're saying like. So you're saying there's two sides to it, which is one is like people can explain better or learn how to explain better and describe a bit, become more descriptive to try and help understand a little bit better.
Sometimes.
And there's some people who are better at kind of imagining and maybe they have more of
just dreaming and just, I think just imagining what like from what you're saying, it's like, wow. Sometimes what people are explaining to somebody else, they've never, like you said, never experienced before. But it just sounds so good. It's like we're getting to experience a little bit of it in our mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a little bit of it. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm saying to someone, you've never had chocolate before, it's so creamy, it's so rich, like it's smooth. The Aero, if you get Aero, sometimes it's got mint inside. The person might just be like, wow, mesmerized.
Yeah, yeah. Now you just made me want to go buy some.
You get it? Like it can happen. It can happen. But yeah, no, I'm with you on that though. I'm with you on that. Like we can't experience it. We wasn't there. But yeah, me personally, my mind just always wanders and likes to imagine what it's like.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way to live.
But then we can't actually have the same knowledge of the person that's obviously been there. So does this lead on to like when we talk about what human beings experience on the earth, and other people just say like it's not my fight, or that's not my argument. I ain't been through what they've been through. I don't understand. I don't relate.
I guess I guess what they're really saying, if you break it down, I think they're just saying that's not my experience. I guess that's what they're saying, isn't it? In a weird way, they just say that's not my experience. They say I can't relate to that, or it's not my experience. Some people are really good at going, you know what, it's not my experience, but like help me understand, tell me a bit more about it. And some people are really invested in, you know, like some people spend their lifetime trying to understand someone's experience. Yeah. Which is really cool. But that's you also get to choose, you know, if you want to do that. Which it kind of goes back down to responsibility, you know. How much responsibility have we taken to understand someone's experience?
And also, I agree with that. And also, like you said, some people don't understand other people's experience, and just. But I think that we all, as human beings, we know. Like some human beings have never been slapped in the face before. Yeah, yeah, never. But you know that hurts. I think all of us know that if someone slaps me in my face, that's gonna hurt. We don't have to have the biggest imagination. We don't have to. But then
they would have witnessed someone being slapped in the face, and they're kind of like their reaction to it, like as in it hurts. So they would assume that it hurts. So like they've learned that from somewhere, you know.
Yeah, I think it's an assumption. Yeah, actually,
because it's that thing of like if something's like if there's a fire. And unless I touch it, like if I'm a kid, once I touch it the first time, I'm probably not going to touch it again because I got burnt.
So you're saying you have to kind of experience things to really know how they feel.
You know what? I'm not. I think everyone's different. So I think there is I think categories where I think people live. So I think there's three types of people. I personally believe there's three types of people. I'm not saying that's the case in the whole world, but that's from my belief is that there's one which is people who go through their own experiences to learn. They don't learn from other people's experiences. They don't do both of them. And I think there's the second type of people who are really good at learning from other people's experiences, but they can't learn from their own. Yeah. And I think there's a third type which they can do both. They learn from their experience and they learn from other people's experiences. So I think it's a mixture.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. I can see those three different types of people. I feel like I know them, and I feel like I have been those three in my life as well. Along the journey. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Let's talk about knowledge. Yeah. Like, I didn't even know what question to ask you around knowledge. Yeah, but we'll get into it anyways. But like, if I'm talking about knowledge, yeah, what does knowledge mean to you, and how do you define it, and how do you look at it in your point of view?
I feel like knowledge is information that you know. I feel like knowledge is a combination of different things. So I feel like when someone says somebody's smart, I think that someone's just taken in loads of information and knows how to use that information for a purpose and in a specific area as well. I feel like when someone says someone is knowledgeable, I feel like that is intelligence mixed in with wisdom and experience. I feel like knowledge is coming from more than just being quite intelligent and smart, like gone to university and just, you know, a very smart person coming before people and, you know, extremely articulate, knows loads of words, knows loads of meanings to words, can teach, can deliver, facilitate, but may not necessarily be knowledgeable in quite a few other areas in life. I feel like a knowledgeable person has a lot of life experience mixed in with intelligence and some wisdom.
Do you know what I was thinking about as well? Yeah. I was thinking about where knowledge comes from. So, for instance, you know, like this whole, let's say for example, the whole situation, I don't want to talk about it anyways because it's not, but I just want to give it as an example. So the whole thing of like the Ukraine situation and Russia, whatever. So obviously there's certain knowledge that's been put out on social media and whatever.
Yeah.
But then how do I know if that's fake or real knowledge?
This is it.
And you know, and then I'm starting to question, like, for all these years from the past, like, how do we know which knowledge is which? And you know, what's the real and what's the fake, and what's the,
like, the word "know" is in knowledge, isn't it? Like knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
I like that.
Do you know why it's scary? Yeah, it's scary because you know, like certain things about like the government, for example, or our leaders, when they do certain things, what they do after that, like if they would do something that's untrustworthy, anything they do after that, we're not gonna trust it because he did this. So same thing applies to the educational system and whatnot. Like we've recently found out that, let's say for example, there were light bulbs in the Egyptian pyramids. That wasn't taught to me in school. That's taught to me on Instagram.
You know.
So how can I? So how can I? What do I trust?
Yeah.
It's hard to trust. It's hard to like. Yeah, it's hard to trust what's been taught because we don't know what's true, what's not true.
Yeah.
Because even that person that was saying about how it's not about education. It's about what's left out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like the school is about what's left out when they're teaching rather than what's been said.
Yeah, that's interesting. I
So a lot has been
think
left out.
even touching on that point about not being able to trust the information that's coming at you, because I wouldn't even call that knowledge. Like saying,
So that's the thing. So is information part of knowledge then?
is information part of knowledge?
Yeah.
Yeah, like information will lead you to knowledge. How do you define knowledge? Like knowledge.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is
Because
a
even
tough
me,
one.
I'm thinking it's like, I agree with you. I think it's a combination of many different things.
If we say someone's knowledgeable, it means they know something. It means they know something and they know it's a fact. He's knowledgeable. Knowledgeable in what? What does he know?
Maybe it's something. There's something around how they utilize something.
Yeah, I
So
think
how
it's
they utilize information.
Yeah.
How they utilize the creativity. Because I feel like, I don't know.
It's
It's
deep.
it's a weird one.
It's deep. I think it's like how you utilize the information and how you, like you said, I think utilize, how creative you are with the information.
I like one thing that you said though earlier. You said wisdom as well, and I think wisdom. And you mentioned experience, and wisdom comes from experience as well.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a connection there.
What if being knowledgeable isn't about what you know? It's about how you found out the information that you do know. I'm saying
Like
like
how you found out.
because I wouldn't consider someone who just takes everything I learned from school and just to be knowledgeable. Or rather, you went out of your way to find certain information that no one else would know.
So this is making me even think even deeper. Knowledge is something that this. So sorry. The question was deep, and it's making me think a lot.
Yeah.
So for me, if I'm really thinking deep about it, knowledge is something that the spirit knows.
Ooh.
And this is why I'm going to say, this is the reason why I'm going to say, because you can read something and something's telling you this is not true. This is not true. And how do you know it's not true? You don't even know, but something deep within you is telling you this is not true, because something within you knows. Like us as human beings, we know some things. Like some things are just like it's an unwritten thing.
And it comes from usually it comes from a form of intuition.
Yeah,
You know, people feel like there's an intuition, but it's coming from somewhere else, because intuition is not conscious. Intuition is a feeling.
Like some people, like let's say an old China man, a monk, old Indian man, a Buddhist. Those people are knowledgeable people. People say those are scholars. They're knowledgeable. They're wise. Like those guys know. Oh, it's raining tomorrow. It's like, who told you that? There's no weather forecast thingy, and then guess what? Tomorrow it rains. Why? Because they saw something in the sky that day, or they saw a crop was moving different, or the way the moon was. This is like deep knowledge, deep understanding of the world.
Do you know what I was thinking about? What you made me think about. So not to take the spiritual away from it. I'm not disagreeing.
No,
There's
of
something
course. This is my
spiritual about it.
perspective. It's just that's
Yeah. So I was thinking about, when you said that, I was thinking about pattern recognition. And sometimes there's certain patterns. I feel like as human beings, at least for me, I'm able to recognize patterns.
Yeah.
So I know things come in patterns. Like I know the seasons are patterns.
Of course.
It's just a pattern that happens. I know after this, it'll
Yeah.
get warm. So I'm predicting the pattern already. So even if I didn't have technology, I'd know that there's a pattern
100%.
after experiencing it for a certain period
And I
of time.
think that is coming from experience. So it sounds like what you're saying is knowledge is coming from us being on the earth for some time and experiencing things. And and like time. So the longer you're here, the more wise. Well, the more wise you should be. The more knowledgeable, the more wiser. Because some people have just been here for 80 years and they're not wise. They're not knowledgeable. They wasted the time. The brain's just been a mess. But with time, you're supposed to become more knowledgeable, more wiser. So like you said, yeah, like these patterns that you'll be seeing throughout the years, you start to know when to plant the seed to grow the crop. This is, for me, this is knowledge. It's information. Well, if you're not given the information about how to look after yourself and survive, which loads of people haven't over the years, they still survived through experience and that divine wisdom. I think it's just that living and trial and error, and that's how you gain knowledge. For me,
pattern recognition is literally the one thing that's like it's like I was watching a documentary and you're talking about how like our civilization has grown from a single-celled organism to today. And it was all basically thanks to pattern recognition. Like our entire civilization is built on the fact that we can recognize pattern, and those that can't recognize pattern cannot live.
And that's why I say like we have deeper knowledge within. I think like us human beings, like just like the animals, just like I think every being and every creature has. I think we're born with knowledge.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna go there now because sorry.
I loved it. I love this.
Yeah,
I love this.
I think we're born with knowledge. So I think that when we were born, there's things that we already knew. Then we come into the world, and I think people say this a lot.
Bob says, "Oh, we don't learn anything. We just remember how to do things. We don't really know how to do it. We just need to remember how to do something."
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. I've heard a lot of people say that, and that one threw me off. I was thinking, it's okay. We come knowing everything. So I knew 4 times 4 when I was a baby. I don't know. So I've heard people say these ones.
But you're just remembering it. So that's why
just remembered it.
As I'm coming on the journey, maybe. But I just feel like the human being, I feel like there's a lot that we don't know. I feel like there's a lot they ain't telling us. And I feel like there is things that we just, this, like, how can I put it? Like we have a brain, we have a soul, we have a heart. And I feel like there's things that are stored, just like a computer. There's things that are stored already. There's things to already help you. Because when you're a baby, you know certain things already. Like, oh, go for the breast, there's milk there. Crawl, get the toy. You're already doing certain things. It's like, you can't communicate on all levels yet, but there's some kind of wisdom there. There's some kind of knowledge within the baby.
That's really profound. Like I always question, not always actually, like when I remember to, so I always like, sometimes I just get super fascinated with everything. I'm like, I look at things like we built this, like we created something, and there's just so many different creations, billions or countless creations on this planet in itself. And I go like, where did we come from? Like, how did we get here? You know, it's just so.
This is why
it's just so incredible.
It's amazing.
This is why I believe in the multiverse, man. Like, I think the multiverse is like the most accurate like answer to that question. But even before that, I don't know. I wanted to ask a question though, based on kind of pattern recognition. That is, what is deja vu?
What is deja vu?
What is deja vu? To you, what is deja vu? I've heard some very, very interesting theories. One of them is the multiverse, is where like more than one version of yourself in the multiverse does the same thing at the exact same time, and that's where you feel deja vu. That's one of the theories I've heard that I kind of find interesting. But what is deja vu to you?
To me, I just feel like I've dreamt it.
You think?
I feel like I dream it. And then I'm living it. This is what I think, because I don't know where else I'm seeing some of the things I'm seeing. Like when things are happening, and I'm like, oh my God, I've been here. We've done this.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to people, we've done this. I've been here. And they're looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, we've done this day, we've ate this food. Like, the same thing, you're wearing the t-shirt. I'm like, oh my God.
I think it's more spiritual, man. I honestly believe, to me, it has to be more spiritual than
a logical dream.
Do you know what I'm thinking, yeah?
I don't know why, it's just,
I actually think...
If you say you think it's spiritual, explain it a little bit more. What do you mean? Like,
it's not something that we can explain with like an example kind of thing. So a dream is very simple to understand. You dream something, we all know that we forget our dreams within minutes, and then we experience it, and it cool, makes sense. But I think there's more to it. I think there's a lot more. I think there's so many layers that is to quantify it is far beyond our physical capabilities.
Do you know many people that have come out and said, I've experienced my dreams? Because I don't know many people that say, I dream stuff, then I live it.
No, because we forget our dreams. That's why. So it's hard.
So it's hard to even know if you're living out.
Even if you did, you wouldn't even know it. So it's even remembering dreams. That's why like Katie's mom, she keeps a dream diary. So for about 30 or so years, she'll write down every single dream she ever had. So if she was to get deja vu in what you're trying to say, then she would know, cool, go back in the pages.
Yeah, and it might be somewhere there.
But yeah, I don't know. That's like the multiverse theory and like the whole thing of like a past life and stuff like that. Those theories, they feel better to me. I don't know. It feels nice.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the multiverse.
Yeah.
I can understand the past life situation, but then it's like, in the past life, was you wearing the same clothes? Was you like?
That's what I'm saying. There's so many layers that.
The only thing I know about dreams, is that I can't run in dreams and that, and that one there frustrates me. Right. That one there frustrates. But you know what I was gonna say on the deja vu thing, for me, I think it's that's the only time I'm fully present. So when I'm experiencing a deja vu moment, I think that's the only time I'm actually fully present, and I think that's just a state of being present in that moment. And I think that's how I would describe it for me.
Right. So you don't usually feel like you've been here before. You've seen. Sometimes you know what the next person's going to say, and you're like, oh my God, he just said what.
But that's the thing. I feel like I know what the next person's going to say, but they still need to say it. But then when they say it, I still feel like, I remember this. I still feel like, I've experienced this before.
Right.
But then I think I'm only feeling that because I'm in a state of being fully present there and then. And I think that only happens, for me, I experience deja vu maybe like 2 to 3 times a year.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, very rarely. But I think those are the 3 times I'm fully present. And because what I'm literally doing, I'm just focused on that moment. And I think that's what being present is just fully focused on that moment.
Right.
And I know people talk about becoming fully present in general, but I don't think that's the full presence, or that's maybe it's part of it. Maybe that's 70% of being fully present or whatever. But I think sometimes just randomly I would just enter that state. So yeah, it's I know it's a little bit different.
No, I understand that. And I like actually having deja vu. When I have deja vu, actually, that day I just feel like, oh, that was amazing. I feel like one up when I've had a deja vu, because I'm just like, you guys, sometimes looking around, sometimes I don't even mention it when I'm having deja vu. I'm just looking around thinking, you guys don't even know what's happening. This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, we've been here before. God knows where this was, but I'm just like, I think that for me, when I go home and I'm thinking about it, that's when I understand, I don't know anything. I'm not knowledgeable. Because I'm like, what is that? I can't describe that, and I don't know what it is. So I'm not that knowledgeable. I still have loads to learn about life. We may never learn and understand it all. So that's when I realize, what the hell do we really know? Like, when it comes to knowledge, because we can't really describe deja vus, or we don't even know what's going on out here. We're guessing and we're assuming. That's when I think I got to a certain age, because I used to believe I was knowledgeable. Because I used to read a lot and be around a lot of people, and I've had a lot of different experiences, and I would listen to a lot of older people. So I believed by a certain age that I'd acquired enough information and I was slightly wise. I was able to use it. But the older I got, and the more into the rabbit hole that I went, I was like, flipping, I don't know anything.
I don't know anything.
Nah.
But that's what there's that quote. And it's not just a quote, I actually truly believe is that the wise man knows nothing, and it's a continuous journey.
Yeah.
It's like whenever we think, it's like, like we feel like, I used to say this thing, it's like, I've seen everything in life now, and then something else happens, I'm like, oh my days, that's another experience to the collection. It just doesn't, it's such a beautiful thing, man.
Of course.
So I've got this deep thing, I've realized a while back, I was speaking to Bob Singer a little while ago at some event, and
big up Bob.
And big up Bob. And Bob talks a lot about remembering. But then I was just thinking, like, from the moment I was born, like, I already died. Like, it's a deep thing. I didn't really want to share this, but it's a deep thing,
Share it, man.
Yeah. So the moment I was born, I already died. Yeah. What if I'm just remembering of how I died? What if I'm sitting here now? What if I'm remembering right now?
What if, man?
Yeah, well, I know. But it was deep, man. It made me look at things differently. Maybe like it helped me be different, as in like in a way where like I'm more present to like things that's going on around me, because I'm like, if I'm remembering, let me remember as much as I can. And then it made me ask this question. It's like, what else do I want to remember before I die?
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So you're more intentional with maybe like where you go, what information you're intaking, stuff like that.
Because I'm talking about the same thing as everyone else, which is experience in life, but I'm just talking about it in a different way.
Yeah, sick. Sick. And another thing with knowledge is, what was I going to say? I had a point I was going to say about knowledge.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think sorry, the more information that you start exposing yourself to, the more conflicted you feel as well. So it's like, yeah, I started to not know what was, I think like Aladdin said, what was real information, which wasn't, who was like spreading the truth, what is not factual. I think the whole knowledgeable thing can be a bit like, it can get a bit techie.
Yeah. I think I was talking to Aladdin as well earlier, and I went like, again, I've done like a full cycle where I stopped watching news for a long period of time, and my life was great because of that. Yeah. And then recently, when this whole like thing was going on, the Ukraine thing, I went into like a rabbit hole of like looking into it and whatever. And I realized I was spending so much energy on that, and it wasn't adding no value to my life. And number two, it was just like in a weird way, it was like making me scared about the state of the world. And then I started watching it, and I just went back into the you know, like the kind of the peaceful mode of not worrying about it. Not to say that it's not happening out there, but at the same time, it's like me spending that energy into consuming that, which is, number one, might not even be fully true. Number two, if it is true, but also at the same time, what can I do from here? What can I do if I'm going to watch and consume the content from the news? It's not going to change the situation.
Well, you better go over there like that brother did, didn't it? Did you see that brother that got over there?
They let him go.
No, they said they had to go and hand out the baby stuff when he got there.
Oh, is that what he did?
No, he got there. Yeah, he actually made it. Because
eventually, because they said to him, he has no military experience. They're talking about the brother from the gym.
Yeah, him.
Because he's got no military experience. They said like, brother, you can't do this thing. So obviously, maybe ended up doing something. No,
I don't know. I swear I saw something on Instagram where he made it to Ukraine. I don't know. Did he maybe get there? But because I didn't even unmute it, but I saw someone write that he made it to Ukraine. But when he got there, he just got told to basically hand out baby stuff for the kids.
Yeah.
And they put him on that, and he was a bit upset because he wanted to go to war. But
man was on this ride out thing. Yeah, man's coming all the way from the UK. You know,
he was probably invested like you. He's reading, he's watching stuff, and he's saying, "What can I do? What can I do? I want to do something." Feeling helpless.
Yeah, but that says more about him, innit? Because it's not the first time he's probably done something like where he saw a situation and he said, "You know what? Let me do something about it." You know.
I mean, he had the ability to respond.
Yeah, exactly.
And with the limited information or knowledge, he acted. Found himself in Ukraine, handing out baby wipes, nappies. He managed to
I'm never trying to take the piss, which is the way it sounds.
He managed to offer his services, man. Like, he's a good guy, bro. He was.
He is a good guy.
He didn't like what he saw. Do you know what I mean? The news was painting the picture, and he just said, "This can't be, man. This can't be."
But that's the thing. But what if? Again, it's the what if thing. But what if, like, he's been not brainwashed, but like, what if the information's false and he went to do something which might have been like, you know, done on purpose by one of these countries? You never know, innit? Bro. But I don't want to go into that. That's what I'm saying, because then he just gets a whole thing. But Rich, I wanted to ask you a question. Yeah,
ask away, man. Like, we're here.
Like, for you, yeah, what do you feel like is the biggest gap in the world? Like, what do you feel like the world needs? Like, what's the one thing that it needs to become a better place?
Whilst we're on knowledge, I really feel like we need some like real information, like real knowledge. I feel like everybody's out here searching, running around. Most of the time it's for money. Like, most people are looking to survive, but it seems like everybody's searching for something. It seems like we don't really know, like, what is it all about? What am I supposed to do here with my time? Some people are working all the hours under the sun. Some people ain't doing nothing and believe that they should be doing something. Like, everybody feels like they're missing something, and I think that's the gap, like you said. But I think everyone just needs to. I feel like we all just need information, and I think we just all just need to know what's actually happening. Because I think, like you said, with Russia and Ukraine, COVID and other things, there's a lot of confusion out here. Like,
COVID don't even exist no more.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of us humans don't actually know what's going on, and I think living in a state of disarray is like it can make you quite anxious. Like, a lot of us just need. It would be so nice if everyone was more in control of their lives. And I think that's not what's happening. It feels like the systems are more in control, and you're just going along and just trying to survive, trying to just do what you can each day. People's kids are coming into the world. They're not even really raising them. It's like the school's doing it, the nursery's doing it.
Yeah.
I'll pick them up at 3 and give them some dinner. I'll put them to bed. But like, yo, this life's so crazy. It's moving so fast. Like, yeah, I feel like we just all need like to understand what it is we should be doing. Just better information. We're not being like guided properly by the systems, even though we shouldn't have the guides. Like, yeah, information has been off for a long time. So I think because we've been fed so much false information, we've been living like false lives. You know, there's people running up and down here just thinking that life's only about this wearing designer clothes. Nothing else matters. Mum don't matter, cousin don't matter, nothing matters. I need to get bread, I need to get Gucci, I need to get this. And like they're missing out on so many opportunities in life, missing out on spending time with certain groups of people as well, because like they don't look like the kind of people that I would move with. Or so we're all like, most people are living off false narratives, and it'll be so much better if we could get more truth in this world, like people that speak more truth, and people were exposing themselves to more truth and more knowledge, and we can all get on the same page. I think that's the gap. We're not really on the same page. A lot of us in this world. Like, I think that's what I would see. That's what I can see from where I'm looking from my little lenses.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting, man. And I think what you said about searching as well, I think I agree. Like most people I've had conversations with, like everyone's searching for something. You know, I was searching for something as well. I think I still am, but like I'm searching for different things now. You know, once I find something, I go search for another thing. But yeah, you're right. Everyone's searching for something.
Yeah. Do you think people are like content? And have you met someone who's content? And if you have, what does that person look like?
Looks like me. But you know what? I'm pretty content. But you know what I realized as well? Like everything's got pros and cons, innit? Being content wasn't necessarily working for me all the time. Because like sometimes like when I was content, like I wouldn't want to do certain things, or like I wouldn't be out there trying to progress or do certain things, because I've realized that actually I had to sort of like be content at times, and other times I had to search or want something.
Yeah,
I have
that's interesting.
I have a question. So the question is, what does content mean? And the reason why I asked that is because I read this book in it, and it talks about how for us to be happy, we must have problems.
Yeah,
happiness comes from problem solving. You can't be happy without problem solving. It's not about like stopping the problems from happening to you. It's more so about choosing what problems you would like to have. So when you solve them, you get happy, and you're motivated to solve them, and you enjoy solving them. So when it comes to being content, what does that mean? Because because me, as far as I'm aware, being content means you're just satisfied with life, problem free kind of thing. But I might be bugging. I might be wrong.
No, I think everyone's interpretation might be a little bit different. Yeah. So that's how you see it.
What does it mean to you, Tor? What does contentment mean to you too?
Content means to me, I think, like being at peace with how things are at this present moment. So even if there are some problems, like you say, that need solving, that's okay. We're content. We'll address them. I think being anxious about it is going to make it worse in that situation. I think being content with life and being at peace with the past, not looking into the future, being present. I feel like contentment is almost being present. Being present and accepting the present moment, and being at peace with everything that's happened. This is how I would kind of view it.
Can you be content with something bad? Can you be accepting and just at peace of the fact that you're living a badish life?
I think bad
or an unhealthy life, something like that.
Some people are content with that.
Yeah, no, that's
some people are in squalor, content.
That's
like some people are saying like it is what it is, like, and good and bad is a perception as well.
Of course,
I think good and bad is the same thing.
It's very thin line, isn't it?
I think it's the same thing. It's like what I mean is like I'll look at this is the same. This is that thing, right? But this can be good and bad. Is that same thing?
Yeah.
Whatever is you know,
it can be good for like 20 minutes and bad for the rest of the evening.
I think good and bad is just a label to a thing, and then we get to choose what label which one we wanna pick.
Yeah.
And then I believe every good has bad, or every bad has good.
I think someone said to me before, for every good person has that little bit of bad, and that bad person that you saying this bad is a bad man, he's just got that little bit of good in him. Like no one's all good or all bad. That's what someone said to me before. You know, that's not how the world was designed.
There's this thing is good or bad. It's just perspective. That's why I keep saying there's no good or bad. It's just how you see it. Red Bull could be good for energy consumption, but it can also be bad for health.
This is it.
It's up to you. You choose which one you want to live by.
Yeah, I mean it's both, you know.
But what do you say content is to you, Lee?
Content. I think acceptance comes to mind. So I think it's just accepting that, just being able to accept and take something as the value it has, and just be like, cool, I'm fine with that. I accept it. I I think for me it's that. But you know, I was thinking like it's the whole wordplay, right? Content. It just came up now. Just content. So it's like being in the tent. That's a con. You know, like. And you know, I was thinking earlier. It's like before I was content, innit? So I was in this tent, yeah. But this tent was
the aircon on.
Yeah, but
just cooling off. Just cooling in there.
But I'm just like it's like, you know, like, but I meant it more in the sense of like, you know, like like someone conned someone.
Yes.
Like so I was just thinking that tent was a con because I was so content. I didn't want to go do more things in life, and I was just like, because I'm content, but that's a con.
Do you think so? Do you think contentness sometimes can be a bit scary? Like it can it can limit.
Bro, honestly, at one point I was so content. I was thinking like, I don't need to do anything else. Like I'm content, like I'm good.
I can relate with this.
But I was just like, but you know what? But I've had this thing of like, that's dangerous because it's actually in a weird way. So it's fucking me up.
It's the enemy of progress.
I can really understand this because there was a time where I think I had my 2 children. There was some money coming in. I felt like I had real wealth because of my children and because of where my mind was at. Like I felt really peaceful. Like I'd overcome so many things. Like you said, I accepted loads of things. Like probably by like 28. Maybe 30, or I just said, you know what? There's loads of things I can't change. I accept it all. I felt super peaceful. I had my kids. I just felt super rich, like a wealthy man. And I just felt really content. And some people would see me and think, like, don't I want the latest designer clothes, designer cars, because I'm not really too into clothes and stuff like that. And I'll say to them, no, I don't want that. And they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, come on, let's go shopping. Let's get this. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I'm saying, I don't want to do it right now. Like maybe soon I want to, but right now I'm just really enjoying the days, the way life is, the way like the setup, whatever I created for that period of time. I was really enjoying it, really content. People thought I was going crazy. Like I should want more from life. I should be pushing. I should be out there running up and down, just like the way they were. But I was really taking things in my stride at that time. You know, really taking things in my stride.
But they wanted you to do what they, so they had like a perspective
of me, yeah.
They had a perspective of what they wanted to do, right? Like so they wanted to get a designer or whatever. Yeah. But they almost wanted you to do the same thing as they're doing,
which would almost knocked me off of being content again. They wanted me to be back in disarray again. Anxious all over the gaff. It's like, let me just enjoy this 5 minutes of peace that I found. I found it. It took almost 28 years, but I found contentness. I found peace. I'm really happy. Like, you know, with the way everything is, the good and the bad and the ugly. I said, lovely.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. People wanted more for me, but they didn't understand. It's going to be less for me. It's going to be less. You're going to throw me back out into something that I'm not going to enjoy.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking about as well? I was thinking ego is kind of similar as well. I think if people, you know, I think a lot of people talk about ego like it's a bad thing as well. Obviously, ego can be a bad thing. I think it can also be good as well, depending on what the ego is used for, because ego can be used for good purposes, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, if people didn't have ego, like people wouldn't want to do anything.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. People talk a lot about ego. Oh, he's too egotistical. His ego's coming through, and I'm like, sometimes you need to bring a bit of that to the table, because that is. So how do people even describe ego? That's one word I haven't looked up, and one word that I don't even understand. People kind of put it in a way like ego's a bad thing.
Do you know what? I don't think anyone even describes it. I think people just use the word. Like even for me, like I used to just use the word like ego. Obviously there's an official description and whatever, and I think there's so many different books around what ego is, but I just think like people just use it as a term, as something that's just there.
It seems like people, for me, it seems like people are kind of like saying ego is like your boosted personality. It's your personality that's on volts. Like you're just on, like you're being you, but you're being much more of you. And it's like, is that bad?
I don't think so. I think
like you're showing off. People say ego is like like you're showing off almost. You're showing off your personality, and it's like, ain't that what the personality, ain't that what it's for?
But then that's the thing, and I think my question is always like, if they're showing off, is what they're showing off adding value, or is it causing damage? And I think that's more important than the ego in itself.
100%.
It's like the whole thing of like, it's never about what the thing is, it's about how the thing is used, isn't it?
100%.
You know what I'm trying to say? And I think people miss the point a lot of the time.
Let's say when someone says, "Oh, you bruised my ego," you've hurt you've disrespected me. You've made me feel human. Like you brought me down a peg.
I think ego comes out in driving a lot. When people drive.
Yeah.
I think so. If someone cuts someone off, I'm like, what? This guy just cut me off. Like,
so that means that for me, like everyone sees ego differently because that is like personal. That's like rage, isn't it? Or would you say it's just personality?
Yeah, maybe the rage is like the outcome of
your ego,
of the ego, but there can be multiple outcomes.
This is it.
This
is it. I don't even know what ego is, man.
I listen.
I've not got a clue.
Talking about it now, I'm like, I don't think I know either.
Like when you break it down, I don't even know what the word really means. I just feel like it's your personality, showing off personality, or being a show off. Because people keep using ego in a negative light, but
Aladdin, want to pull up definition of ego as well, if you got a minute, because that would be it'd be interesting to see what the actual definition is. How is defined officially?
Because there's a lot of words that we use every day that we don't really know the meaning of.
Do you know what? Resilience used to be one of them back in the day for me, but now I fully know what resilience is. But I used to, people used to use it a lot.
Ooh, this is interesting.
Resilient. Go on.
A person's sense of self-esteem or importance, self-importance. So is you recognizing how important you are, I guess.
Repeat that again, please.
So a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance.
That's interesting.
Okay.
So I think this one's more of a scale thing. Like recognizing your own importance is important, right? It's necessary. When there's too much of it, it's like too many apples, right? Too many apples give you
so
diabetes.
it seems like you need an ego, but it seems like you need it to be balanced.
But I think that applies to everything.
That's all I'm getting
that's what it sounds
That
like.
applies to everything. I think that applies to selfishness. I think that applies to selflessness. I think that applies to patience. I think that applies to ego. I think that applies to everything. It's all like a mountain, for example. If you're at the bottom of the mountain, either side, you're in the wrong place. But if you're at the top of the mountain or close to the top of the mountain, that's where you want to be. Yeah. So if you're at the bottom, let's say, for example, you're on the left side of the bottom of the mountain, on ego, for example, that means you don't have enough ego. And if you're on the bottom of the mountain on the right side, you have too much ego. Where you want to be is around the middle or ideally at the top of the mountain. That's when you have that perfect balance of not too much, not enough, just the Goldilocks.
Yes.
So how do I say?
Yes. And I think that's what they say in life. It's all about balance, isn't it? We're supposed to be in balance. So for the man that's not got no ego and he's just on the bottom of the mountain, that's not the best place to be as well. So it's like there's so many things that we're supposed to. I think my friend said to me before, life is all about just trying to learn about yourself and learning about how to become balanced. Because we're always like scales. There's always one side is a bit heavier than the other, and I feel like.
But what's really interesting as well is the fact that we assign certain traits as good or bad. So let's say, for example, patience. Too much patience and not enough patience is so too much patience and not enough patience is bad. But same thing applies to ego and selfishness. Yeah, patience is considered a good thing, and ego and selfishness is considered a bad thing. Why so?
Yeah,
because they both have the same kind of metric of balance, and they both require balance. But if you got too much or not enough,
it seems like you need.
But they put in categories, which is why. Why is it?
I think the good and bad thing we just scrapped, innit? Like I think we all got to a certain age and we said, "What do you mean? Is it good or am I good or am I bad? If I do this, I'm good. If I do that, I'm bad." No, get rid of that. We're just
circumstantial. All of it.
Everything is circumstantial, contextual. So I got rid of good and bad from about probably 25. I remember like anything used to happen, people would say, "But is it bad though if we do that or if we go here or if we say that on a tune? Is it bad?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Is it bad? Who's gonna tell us? Who is it? Who is it that we're even like?
Who sets the rules, man?
Yeah, I've always wondered like, who is it? Like we're scared of someone. There's someone that we're out there that we're always like we feel like we're being watched. Like so, it's like especially when we're doing music, can we do like even if no matter what you do in life. You always question yourself, can I do that? I wonder what people are going to think of me. It's like sometimes, what people? Like,
I think I know what people they are. I think the person that you're scared of is the version of yourself that's looking at yourself from the eyes of the public.
That's deep. That's actually deep.
No, I get it.
Because it's better. Yeah. So it's like you. I think I read this in the book as well. You have your own perspective of yourself, and those. Let me try to explain this properly because it's a tongue twister. You look at yourself, and you're looking at yourself from what you think other people look at you like. I'm saying so that we're always trying to impress that version, that person. Or that
can I add an example? It's like that question. It's like, how would your best friend describe you? where really and truly you're describing yourself.
Yeah.
So you're just always trying to satisfy a version of yourself that's looking at you from the perspective of the public. And that's where the problem is. The book I was reading recently that I keep referring to is called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, which is fascinating because it's all about just not caring and reserving your fucks for what matters and what's important.
And I can't lie, it's a beautiful place to be. I only probably got there when I was probably about 30, maybe a bit before. Maybe there's levels to that. So maybe I probably started that around 25, 26. You know, and then certain things happen and you realize, no, you really give a fuck. Because if you did, you wouldn't care, you wouldn't respond, you wouldn't, you know what I mean? But then you get older and older and older and you just think, I don't care about what anyone thinks, or I couldn't give two fucks about anything. And you just live peacefully.
Do you know what I was going to say? That's something I admire you for, actually. And I've said it to you before, but I admire you for those two things. One is like, not to make it sound like you don't give a fuck, because you do, you just reserve it. Or you choose what you give a fuck. So it's that thing of like, not giving two shits about something, but also that thing of like just being honest. And just being honest and just saying how it is, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, we spoke about what we lack in the world. I think that's something that we lack as a, you know, as
a gap.
As humans. There's definitely a gap about people being honest and just true to everyone. And there's like people who sit down and have conversations and they might be holding some stuff back. Like just, you know, just say it. Like there's this,
I think as difficult as it is, being honest and open and truthful with, I just feel like I owe that to my fellow brothers and sisters on the earth, man. Like we're being lied to enough. We're being lied to enough. So I just feel like, as hard as it is, I try and be as honest as possible. And you're not going to be everyone's favorite person. When
do you know what the thing is? Because the culture is no one is actually comfortable with honesty. Well, not no one. I'm not gonna say no one. There are people that are. But like most of the people aren't. So if people aren't comfortable, is that going to create an environment where people are going to be more likely honest? Probably not.
Nah, of course
so that's
not.
the thing. So because it's about breaking down the culture of like, let's start being honest and become more comfortable with that. It's not like there's the whole cancel culture. And it's all about not being comfortable with what someone said.
Basically.
That's what it literally is. Someone said something, to go, oh, I'm not comfortable. You know what? Let's cancel this person.
I've said to my mate a million times, like, they don't want me to get big because I'm not gonna, like, cancel me every day. Like, I don't care about none of you anyway. Like, that's the thing. I don't care about none of you anyway. I don't see you. You can't cancel me. Like, because I don't see you. So you're cancelled to me anyway. I don't see, like, people that are going to cancel you, you've never met. They live in towns you've never been to. For me, you're already cancelled out. I don't even know.
But listen, number one, I think before anyone gets big, they never been approved in first place anyways. Like, the moment we were born, we're not like someone that's approved to be cancelled.
This is it,
so obviously,
bro.
if we get to that point, cool. Now we're approved. And if someone cancels, we just go back to where we were. Like, what difference does it make? We're still ourselves.
And I think we give ourselves our own stamp. You know what I mean? We approve ourselves, man. You can't like, fair enough, if you're in some industry and you've rose up and, you know, you're getting appreciated and loved by the masses and you feel like you need to be now responsible and act in a certain way, and then suddenly when you've done something which is part of you, your personality or whatever, everyone wants to get on and attack you now. You're apologizing to people you've never met because you got yourself to where you got to for your craft, for your art. Even though they supported you, they bought you.
And they don't want to lose that fame, so they're apologizing.
Like, they don't want to, it's like, but it was an illusionary anyway. Those people were willing to not buy your next stuff if they didn't like it anyway. They was willing to
you get a taste for something is dangerous. Like, you know how people say in movies, that time travel movies, like, if once you kill your first person, you get a taste for killing, and then is left from there. When you get a taste for fame, or when you get a taste of fortune or fame or whatever, that's like you want to maintain and keep it. Like, you do everything you can to keep.
And when you get that, no, when you, because I can't relate to that one.
You can't relate to that, yeah. Well, a lot can. When you get, like, when we get a taste for something that's fortunate, we go as out of our way to keep it. And it's a dangerous game.
I think fame can be scary because it can compromise who you are. It's like you now may not be this person that Leo's talking about is being like truthful, authentic, being who you are. Now you're just like, things could be happening, really major things could be happening in the world where you just feel like you wanted to say something about it on your Instagram or on your Twitter, but because now you're a big public figure, you just have to keep quiet now. And it's like, damn, I don't want to be famous then. Okay, I want to keep talking from the rooftops, whatever I feel is important to me. Like, you can't silence me. A lot of us feel like we don't even have a voice. Anyway.
So it's like it's like what else can
What
you
the hell?
do?
Like, let me use whatever I've got with my one little life.
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, man.
So Jerome, he was doing like he was breaking out some language and stuff, and he used the word attention. That's what the whole fame thing is built on, attention. And he broke it down as in at tension. So someone's at tension of something. So all these people that are famous, they're getting someone else's tension. So they're being, they're giving their attention to them. But then I was thinking about something else yesterday. It came from that, and I was someone used the word intention. And I was thinking that's intention. So it's like what it's there's attention and there's intention.
Yeah.
And intention's internal, isn't it? It's because it's like what's my intention towards a certain thing?
Of course.
And I was thinking I'd rather have intention than attention.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And attention for the right things, innit? Like and even when you do get attention, I think staying grounded, is it? Yeah, humble, like balanced, all these things, like if your art is recognized, I think I think staying balanced and humble is the way, because it can be quite tricky otherwise, man. Like, I'll
be honest, like I know we're not in that position yet, but even if we're getting like million views, like I still do the same shit. Like it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
And also it's like, why would someone stop doing something that helped them get there in the first place? And I see there's people out there who get to a certain point and they stop doing those things and they just become someone else. Stop
talking to the people that was around them. Get new teams. Like change up the whole thing. Like you know, you can't change the number. You can't get through to them again. It's like, wow, like you just ran away from everyone.
Just like that. Just like that.
It happens, man. Like it happens. But I think that's their journey and that's their story, innit? I think these things can get to your head. Like if you got 1.something million views on Instagram or Twitter or something, you're being paid X amount of money. It's very easy to just forget, because you're thrust into a brand new world now. You've got different people around you. You've got to respond differently. Like,
but you know what?
Have different responsibilities.
It goes back to just measurements. It's like how people measure stuff. So I don't want to be that person who measures my success or who measures my ability to do something that way by numbers. Like that wouldn't make any sense. For instance, like when we were meeting yesterday, like there was this woman, she was talking about, she's like, yeah, we got this huge company, they are big, it's a big company, they're gonna help us do whatever. And I was sitting there, I was thinking, like from my measurements, they're bigger than them, that company.
Right.
Because her measurements are like, they got money, they got contacts, like that's a measurement. So she's like, that's a big company.
Yeah.
But the value that other company had, that I thought was big, was the human sort of like connection, like the meaningful stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's big for me.
Yeah.
So I was like, in my measurements, I'm like, they're bigger than them.
Big. Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So it's like, and there's this whole interesting thing. It's like, of how do we measure that? Like because we can measure it. We can choose how we measure it. And for me, this is like this podcast and all these other conversations we have off podcast, that's the goal. Like that's my measurement.
Yeah.
You know, I think everyone should ask themselves this one question on a regular basis. That's, what metric are you using? Like what kind of metrics do you want to use for everything? Like what metric do you use to determine success? What metrics do you use to determine health or well-being? What metric do you use? There are millions of different types, and you get to choose which one you want to use. Ideally don't use the ones that's forced into you.
Yeah.
Use the ones that you feel. It's kind of voting. Don't vote for what's been shoved into your face. Vote for whatever you do after you've done your research. What metric are you going to be using for your life?
That's the thing, innit, man? People ain't got the time to do the research. People just think
that's the thing. When it comes to metrics, the research is within yourself. It's not researchers in Google and YouTube. It's researchers in me. Like, what do I think as a person? What do I consider successful? Do I consider 10 million views and a regular decent income as successful, or determine happiness as successful? Me, I determine happiness and contentness, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey Tyler, what do you think about this? Yeah. What was it like?
Come on, big up man like Tyler. No, big up man like Tyler.
Hey, what do you think about this? Yeah. Every single book that's written out there, every single book that exists, it's about you.
It's about me. What do I think about it? Like,
what do you think about that?
Well, I just think we are one, innit? Like mankind, man and woman. somehow, I don't even know how to describe it. We're all interlinked in some way. We're all human beings on this earth. We're all linked. So all the books that were written would include human life and experiences, and I'm part of that.
I like that. I wasn't thinking that yet. No, but that's a beautiful answer. I wasn't thinking that. Me and Aladdin had a conversation yesterday, and what did you ask me? You said, "What is that book about?" That's what you asked me yesterday. Remember?
What was it?
So long story short, he asked me a question, and he said,
Unfuck Yourself. Yeah.
So there's a book called Unfuck Yourself. Yeah, I know, but it's a really good book. So he goes, "What's the book about?" And I said, "It's about you." Because every single book is about us. It's about me.
In some way.
Yeah, because really and truly, if I'm going to read it, I'm going to interpret it because of who I am and how I am.
Yeah.
So it's every single book.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Man said it's about you.
Yeah, every single book. So now if anyone is ever going to ask me, what's this book about? It's about you. Because if you read it, you ain't going to get the same things that I got from there.
That's sick.
You know, it's interesting, man.
That's sick. And and you're going to do different things with that knowledge or information. Jeez, I need to stop. I don't know how I'm going to use the word knowledge again after this. Honestly, because it's deep.
Now this is beautiful, man. Like I said, we've been waiting for what, 1 year?
Come on,
just probably a little bit under. I think since we started, because we've been waiting for this conversation.
We've been exchanging knowledge or information for the last 7 years. Do you know what I mean?
This conversation, so I know I get like really philosophical, but this conversation already happened when we met.
Come on,
it's just been a build up towards making it happen.
Yeah, man. And iron sharpens iron. So like, we've been sharpening each other's swords for a long time. You know what I mean? Making sure that we're as sharp as possible. And now we're on different platforms or podcasts, sharing whichever knowledge or information that we've acquired over the years through experience, through reading, through life experiences or whatever.
And I learn a lot from you. Like I enjoy having conversation. Obviously, like this is the podcast conversation, which is going to go out. But also like off the podcast, like we have some amazing conversations that where I'm learning from. I'm learning from you, and I'm remembering stuff.
Yeah. We talk about deep things, man. And I think I appreciate that as one of my brothers, because I call you one of my brothers, because I feel like you're one of my brothers. We speak about almost anything. I think that's what I like about you, Leo. Like that you're open to talk about anything. Like you watched the podcast the other day that I was on. We spoke about race. We spoke about, white people. And you come and said, I watched it. I watched it. Like, because there's probably other people that watched it, but they're not coming to me. They're not coming to talk about it. They don't want no conversations. They don't want to get uncomfortable. They don't want maybe to me be uncomfortable. Because of things that opinions they might have. And I'm like, we're all here to just try and learn. Like, so if I'm uncomfortable, that's fine. Like, if I can learn, I'll be grateful. Do you know what I mean? Because like I said, we're one on this earth. Like we're all out here, even though we're heavily divided and we're all having different experiences. Like you said earlier, like, and some of us can't relate to each other's experience. So it feels like we're in pockets. And like, you don't know, I'm not with you and you're not with me. But really, we are one.
Yeah. Do you know what's I think for me the most important thing, like before anyone's like whatever country they're from, anyone's skin color, all of that stuff, I think for me the basis and the foundation of that we're all human, innit?
Yeah.
Regardless of every single person I look at is like cool, like they're human, they have a soul and that's what it is, that's the bottom line. All the other stuff afterwards, they just created labels, by language that's been created and all these other things. And sometimes like labels, not even sometimes, most of the time labels separate people as well. Yeah. And I think there's other, so going back to gaps of the world, I think one gap is that I feel like people need to become better at understanding something that's different. So I think some people are scared of different. Yeah, and that's the other thing of like, when people don't come outside the comfort zone because something's different, I don't know what it is, but I think that's just another thing that people need to address. And it'd be beautiful to see that change as well.
Yeah. In the world. Man. We're on a learning journey, and I think when did the internet come out? Is it 40 years ago?
It's
less. Like 20 years.
And people used to have to do the dial-up thing, like do the dial-up through the phone to connect to some next.
It seems like back then people knew much less, but it's like they almost knew more. It's like the knowledge was real knowledge then. Now you got the internet. You can go and you can research anything. You can study and you can learn about something. But it seems like now we know much less because we know too much about everything. There's so much information out there, and loads of false information as well. Loads of false information. So it's like we're walking around now, like yeah. I know stuff. I know him. I know her. I know them.
Yeah.
I know that. It's like you don't.
But you know what's becoming big now, and I predicted this a while back because of Instagram. It's like the fact checking websites are becoming big because like there's a lot of like, you know, they say it's false info. I don't know if it's false or not. You know, I can't decide that. But they say there's a lot of false information that's being posted on Instagram and other things. So there's like fact checking websites where people can check if it's factual or not. Yeah. And the thing is, but who decides what's facts anyway? So like, can they really like we're fact checkers? Like, how do they know if that's a fact? You know, like were they there? Did they witness it?
Yeah. Is it so that is a fact? Is also a different one, isn't it? It's difficult with facts.
Yeah.
I think you have to be there, and it's like if me and Aladdin are saying like Leo had a white top on today, and no one's other people didn't see you, it's like only you man know the facts, man. You man know the facts. We don't know that.
Yeah.
But one thing I was going to say on knowledge earlier, it slipped my mind, but it just came back now. Is that you can sometimes only be knowledgeable if you can remember some of the information that you've taken in. Because when I was reading, researching, studying, speaking with people, like trying to learn, I felt like I was acquiring some new knowledge, and I felt I had knowledge in certain areas. But then as time went on, I learned more things, had different experiences, probably went through loads of trauma as well. I just forgot about all the stuff that I'd read, all those journeys.
Yeah.
So where's all that knowledge now? It's gone.
Yeah.
I can only remember like snippets. So how knowledgeable really are we? Like, that's why I say sometimes it's not even I don't think it's what the brain can hold.
Do you know what helped me? Do you know what helped me? And I don't know if this would help you or other people. And I'm not saying it because of that, but because I remembered something as well when you said that. What helped me is any knowledge that I receive now or get, I put it in practice or try to teach it. I think teaching is the key word, because there's another thing I've learned as well, which I'm going to get onto in a sec. But so yeah, I try to teach it, because when I teach it, I understand it better. So for instance, if I was to read a book and I read a book to just read it, I'm going to read it in a certain way. But if I read a book to teach it, I'm going to read it differently. So the fastest way to allow someone to develop experience in something is to make them the teacher rather than the student. Right.
Because they have to practically, that makes sense.
And they'll take information in differently or like develop knowledge differently.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so before we check out, I wanted to ask you if there's anything you wanted to promote, if you want to promote anything to the community that we have.
Yeah. I just want to promote us as human beings.
I love that.
Let's be content. Let's try and figure out where the real knowledge is, and let's enjoy lives and treat each other good. I'm promoting Roach Material Volume 1.5. That should be coming out on the 20th of April. That's for the stoners, not just for them, it's for the non-stoners as well. But obviously that little package there, April the 20th, is 420. It's for that group of people that like all that sort of stuff. There's some packages that are gonna come with it.
I like that it's 1.5, not 2.0. No, it's just it's just said 2.0 is not ready yet. Yeah, I love that.
We're still working on that one. But yeah, I'm just want to promote the mixtape and love, man. Let's just let's just get back to it as human beings. There's madness going on in Ukraine, other parts of the world, pure fighting, pure madness. We've got racism. We've got all the isms, the classisms, loads of issues in the world, man. Let's just get back to the source, which is love. Let's just try and help each other and build each other up. Yeah. Promoting that, man.
I love that.
That's what it is, bro. That's the path I'm on, and I'm trying to share. You know what I mean? It's difficult though in this world, isn't it? But yeah, man. Promote love, man. One love to everyone. That's it. That's the vibe.
Do you know what's mad? Because so the question we always check out with, and you might have even like answered it now, but you told me anyways, which is, so when you're gonna get a chance to say something to 7.8 billion people, which is the whole world's population, what would you tell them?
One thing I see a lot of us not doing, just believe in yourself, man. Just believe in yourself and just ride it till the wheels fall off every single day. Like from time you open those eyes and you've gone and brushed your teeth, because please brush your teeth as well. like some people coming out the house without even doing that one, but like ride this thing till the wheels fall off and believe in yourself. Is like so many people tell us all the time, there's only one of us. There's not going to be another one. There's no twin out there. Well, for some people there is a twin, but literally there's just, we're the original piece. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it and believe in yourself, because if we did, God knows where some of us would be today if the self-belief was within from like very early on, you know. Because when I see some youths who have got, you know, two very stable parents, very knowledgeable, intelligent, responsible, balanced parents, the young person believes in themselves from very, very young, starts to get into very good activities very early on, becomes the replica of the parent, very knowledgeable, wise, responsible from very early on, and it just goes on a pathway like that, you know, not wiggly, not ups and down, not too much struggling and stress.
Yeah,
it's more of a smooth, steady, consistent pathway because of that structure. So yeah, self-belief. If we can all start accessing it from now, and ride it to the wheels fall off, is my advice to the 7.8 billion.
Yeah, I like that. And for people that are in like practicing self-belief, like we're missing out on the gift that they can bring to the world. Yeah, because they're not believing in that gift.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So and we need them.
And if they're too content, which is a great thing, like you said, because that's what I'm going to use, it's really powerful, is know when it's time to move again. Know when it's time to move, because being content is good, but know when it's time to move and do a bit more before it's time to go back to your cocoon or
I spent some time in that tent. I'm just like now I'm just like, let me go out and until I get to the next tent.
Before we close, can you be content and be out there pursuing, doing the most? Because I still feel you can.
Do you know what? That's what I thought about when we started having that conversation earlier. And I agree with you. I think we can. You know, I think we can, yeah. But do you know what? My belief before used to be that if I do that, I can't do the other thing. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's a very different kind of energy, because you're amongst other people that are not content now, all the different types of people around, all the different kind of things happening. It's like, damn, I was in my house, in my own zone, in my space. I'm content. I'm out here. I'm dealing with different energy. People swearing, people saying
like it's stuff.
It's stuff. But yeah, I think with time and experience, I think we can even be content in those environments as well. It all takes time, man. We're on a journey, and we have to give thanks. Continuously.
Gratitude.
You know? Very grateful to have been here today, though.
Yeah, I'm
looking forward to coming back. Looking forward to coming back.
Coming forward, we're not going back.
Nah,
coming forward.
Looking forward to going forward, man. Linking up again, bro. Come on.
But yeah, but my brother.